Hello, this is Dr. Susan Nash, and I'm excited to be able to talk to you about the difference between annotated bibliographies and literature review, or lit review. And essentially what it does, by understanding both, it really helps you develop good research skills, but it also helps you develop what I would really consider to be a fast track to developing papers. So let's just take a quick look. First of all, what is an annotated bibliography? So essentially, let's just say it's a list of sources with brief summaries and evaluations. And for me, the best approach to an annotated bibliography is to pick a topic that I'm going to write a paper about. And then as I'm doing the annotations, I tie the annotations to my primary thesis or my research question. I don't just do an abstract. I mean, this is not an abstract. And so the key components, a full citation for each source. And the citation would be, for example, an APA style, it would be the type, what you would see in the references. And then 100 and 200 word annotation per source. And then also the summary of main arguments, evaluation of methodology, assessment of relevance to your topic. So again, if it's a research paper, you would evaluate the methodology that they used, and then also make sure that, again, to connect it to your topic or your primary thesis. So not just your topic, your thesis. And the purpose is basically a descriptive and evaluative documentation of individual sources. So basically, what is a literature review? A literature review is a comprehensive analysis that synthesizes existing research. So in theory, you could use your annotated bibliography as a stepping off point to create a lit review. So what the key features are in a lit review is that it's really the history of the idea and investigations of that topic or concept that you're investigating. So it identifies patterns across studies, highlights debates and conflicting findings, reveals gaps in current research, organizes information thematically or chronologically, and it shows relationships between different studies. So let's say that your topic has to do with homelessness in women who are of a certain age, let's say in ages 25 to 35. Then what you would do is find a number of articles that are on that. Then you would find, okay, are there patterns across the studies? For example, are people looking at things such as, are they looking at issues such as substance abuse or any type of issues that might have to do with assaults, or are they looking at causation? Are they looking at survival skills? Are there different patterns? Anyways, are they comparing, contrasting with men who are homeless? Those are things you can look at. Okay, so the key difference is in an annotated bibliography, the sources are listed individually and they're in alphabetical order. Each source is described separately, and then it's evaluated source by source. And there's a building block approach, and it's like foundation work for whatever you're doing in the future. In a lit review, there's more of a narrative, and you're synthesizing across the sources, and you're identifying patterns and themes, and you're analyzing the relationships between the studies. It could be between the findings of the studies, or it could be findings about the researchers too. And it's essentially a comprehensive analysis, and you can consider it to be a final product. In fact, some journals like to publish lit reviews, but they don't like to publish annotated bibliographies. So if you can use an annotated bibliography as a foundation, as pointed out before, it can work as a springboard for either your paper or a lit review. And it works because as you're writing the annotations, it's kind of forcing you to have a deep understanding of each source. It also helps you identify recurring themes, and you're going to see patterns. You'll also see areas where there are disagreements or agreements, consensus, and if there is a lot of disagreement, you are really into a really good part, a really good topic, because then you have sort of a rich experience. And also you can figure out where there are gaps in research. So as you're trying to convert your annotated bibliography to a lit review, start grouping the annotations by theme, and then start looking for the connections across the sources, and then clearly identify the debates and controversy, and if there are things in common about people as they do their research, note those. So, for example, in the case of analyzing and studying homelessness in women, are they doing interviewing the women? Are they interviewing workers who work with the social workers? Are they interviewing people who work at shelters, work at within law enforcement? You might look at that. So then, as you try to structure your lit review, make an introduction. So then you have your primary thesis, you're establishing your scope and significance of your topic, and your research question or focus, which is your primary thesis. Then you'll have body paragraphs or body sections. I would put a heading for each of the body sections, and you organize them by themes. And then within the themes, you'll synthesize your findings. So you will talk about what you found in your research in those themes or findings, and then also make sure that you have a section that has to do with agreements or disagreements, controversies, and then if it's worthwhile, talk about the differences in the methodologies. And then conclusions are really good in that they go further. They don't just summarize what you've been saying earlier, but they state where there's need for future work. And so that would be, there are some research gaps. For example, in homelessness in women, it might say, okay, we need research about homeless women in different ethnicities or in different parts of the country. And then you could, and is there a difference between urban and rural homelessness? Then suggest future directions, and then at the end you can summarize the current state of the field, not just your paper. So here's some key takeaways. Remember that an annotated bibliography is basically a foundation for something in the future. A lit review is more or less a synthesis in a final paper. And you move away from describing sources to analyzing the relationships between the articles. Organized thematically, not chronologically by source. When you start turning your annotated bibliography into a lit review, and also the focus on synthesis over summary. So next step, complete your thorough annotated bibliography first. Identify 3 to 5 major themes from your annotations, and then draft a lit review organized around those themes. So I hope this has been helpful. It's been a pleasure to speak with you, and I'm Dr. Susan Nash, and we've been talking about annotated bibliographies versus lit reviews. Thank you.